Hey guys, Susan Thomas here, and today I want to talk to you about basic tools that you need to make jewelry. So the other day I was thinking back to when I very first started making jewelry, and I remembered that the thing that was the most overwhelming was, what tools do I use? So today I want to talk to you about the basic tools that you need to make jewelry, the things that you have to have in your toolbox in order to make your jewelry making experience successful. First of all, let's talk about stringing. If you're just starting to make jewelry, the very first technique that you need to know is stringing. What is stringing? Well, it's putting beads on a string. Very easy, but how do you finish it? It's the question everybody always asks me. So you're gonna need a couple tools to work with to finish off your jewelry if you're gonna be stringing beads. First of all, absolute must-have is a crimping plier. Now there are a lot of crimping pliers out there, but this one I love for beginners. If you're just getting started, you are gonna love this. This is the Amtara crimper. And if you kind of take a look at that, it's kind of a funny looking tool, but if you look right here at the center, there's a little groove and a notch that kind of presses down into that groove. And that is how you finish off your jewelry, with something called a crimp bead. And so you're gonna put your crimp bead in there and you're gonna do one thing. You're gonna squeeze, just like that. And when you squeeze that down, it's going to compress that crimp bead into kind of a U shape, and it's gonna attach the clasp to your wire that you're using to string with. Obviously, that's a completely essential tool. You have to have that or you're not gonna be able to make jewelry. And it's one of the things that people, when they first start, you see this great bracelet. You love it so much, but you don't know how to end it. So you have to have the crimping plier to do that. Next of all, you're going to need a cutter. Now this is a great little cutter. I call it a nipper as well. And this is what you're gonna use to cut the wire after you string the beads on and crimp it with your crimping plier. You're gonna just need to take this particular tool right here and just obviously give it a squeeze and cut off the excess wire that you're working with, or cord. And if you look right up here at the tip, I love this one because it's got a nice point on the end so you can get in really, really tight in those tiny spaces that you're going to find all the time when you're making jewelry. So these two right here are your essential stringing tools. And if you're just getting started making jewelry, guess what you're gonna be doing? Stringing. Okay, now, if you're making jewelry, obviously you wanna make necklaces, yes, you wanna make bracelets, but you're always gonna wanna make earrings to go with them. So you're gonna need some basic wire working tools. And these are some of the ones that are so hard to find. When I first started making jewelry, I went to the home improvement stores and I ran in and I asked for a round nose plier. And they looked at me like I had a big hole in my head. So this is a jewelry tool that is essential for wire working and making the loops and coils that you need to make earrings. If you look at it up close, right here, you can see that the jaws of the plier are round. That's pretty unusual, right? But you use them like mandrels to make little loops and coils on your jewelry. And they're also tapered, so you can make a small loop here at one end or a large loop at the other end. Absolutely essential, must have for making earrings and wire loops. Next, this looks very similar to the tool I just showed you. I know, but it's different. This is a chain nose plier. Now the difference between this, and I'll hold them up together like this. This one had a jaw that was round all the way around. This one has a flat, smooth jaw on the inside, but then it also comes down to a point at the end. This plier you're going to use for opening up jump rings, opening up your ear wires, putting things together, squishing down little weird ends that you get when you're making your jewelry. So you're gonna need that as well. Those two are absolutely essential. And then I have another plier that I like quite a bit for making jewelry. It's probably my favorite one to use. It's called a flat nose plier. Now, very similar to your chain nose plier, but you can see this one comes down to a point on the end, the chain nose, but the flat nose comes down to a flat end like that. Great for grabbing wires, holding onto them, opening and closing things, squishing things down. And also, I like to use two of these together to open and close jump rings and get things nice and tightly closed. And then finally, you absolutely must have a great flush cutter. Now, what's the difference between any cutter and a flush cutter? Well, a flush cutter is going to cut your wire that you're using. So think of like the end of an earring wire that you're putting in your ear. It's gonna cut it flat and flush, nice and smooth. so it doesn't poke you or pinch you, or also if you're making a wire connector and maybe you're wearing a sweater, it keeps it so you don't have a little piece of wire sticking out. It doesn't pick on your sweater or anything like that. It's very important to have a good one. And I love this particular cutter right here because this one also has something that catches the wire when you cut it. So it's called a retaining clip, so that when I cut this wire like this, what happens is, see how it holds onto the wire? So the wire doesn't fly across the room and hit somebody in the face or the eye. And believe me, I've had that happen. So that's a great tool that you can use to flush cut your wire. And those are essentially the tools that you're gonna need to be successful making jewelry, which is what we all want. We want you to get started making jewelry, make awesome pieces, and be successful doing it. Okay, so don't forget basic stringing tools, crimping plier, nipper, and basic wire working tools, round nose plier, chain nose plier, the all-important flat nose plier, and of course, your flush cutter. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. If you'd like to pick up some of the tools that we've worked with today, check out the link down below. And hey, tell me what tools that you'd like to work with in the comments. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and I'll see you guys again next time.